Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to the Energi Danmark Champions Battle 2019. So this event is really very nice event in which Magnus Carlsen participated and played first simultaneously 24 games, and of course he managed to win all of them. But the more important thing, he faced today a very talented player from Denmark, Jonas Bjerre, and Jonas Bjerre is only 14 years old and he is now around 2500 rated, so I think in the next months he'll be also grandmaster. So in the continuation of his career, I really wish him all of the best, and he will manage to be second in the national championship in Denmark. So I think we'll see maybe Jonas Bjerre in the future also as a top grandmaster level. And really, I don't know what's going on in the chess world, because we were always used to have this, maybe the Russians, the Americans, the Chinese, now these days, that they are really the best players. There's some players from Azerbaijan, Armenia, and now we see that in Scandinavia is chess also probably very popular, and now we have many of this very active and very talented players that are playing these days. And as said, Bjerre Jonas, of course, is in this really talented level now so far. But today he faced the world champion and also maybe probably the best chess player of all time. So we'll see one particular moment in which I'm a little bit sad, because Jonas Bjerre didn't go into this most aggressive line, which he could have maybe have a more dynamic game. And I've seen it now many times that this top grandmasters, even, or maybe some lower rated grandmasters, well, they get a little bit scared while playing against Magnus Carlsen. I don't know what it's all about, but I think they can really sometimes play a more aggressive line, especially when Magnus Carlsen doesn't maybe choose the best opening line, maybe not the most prepared one. So here we see e4 played by Bjerre Jonas, and here Carlsen plays e5. Knight on f3, knight on c6, and now bishop on b5. The Rui Lopez a6, bishop on a4, and here Magnus plays this Morphy line of this of the Rui Lopez, the move g6, and here Jonas Bjerre castled. But what I meant is maybe Jonas should have gone here maybe immediately and play the move d4, because with the move g6, black has a little bit weakened here the dark squares, and you see that Magnus Carlsen needs at least more, so he needs 1, 2, and 3 more moves just in order to castle. So this immediate central pawn breakthrough is possible. So in the continuation, Magnus can play maybe b5, bishop on b3 can be the continuation, but now e takes d4, and now knight takes on d4. You see knight on a5 has to be played, because if you take out the knight, then we have queen takes on d4, and if you try something like queen on f6, well, then you get e5. This could be tricky, and you see black is already pushed away. Still, you need 3 more moves in order to castle. White is only one move away from castling. But okay, after knight takes on d4, Magnus can play maybe knight on a5. But still, I don't like here black's position, because here he has already weakened these dark squares. So maybe, as of course the position is equal, but maybe Jonas should have gone into this more aggressive line and really try to battle against the world champion. So instead of d4, Jonas played castling, and now bishop on g7. c3, of course, now with the preparation to play the move d4, d6, and now d4 was played. Now we have bishop on d7, and now rook on e1. Really challenging now black, because black has really Magnus has to castle now, because if the position gets opened, if the e file gets opened, this could be deadly for black. So that's why knight from g to e7, and now d5. Knight on b8 was played, and now bishop takes on d7, knight takes on d7. And I've seen it also now quite often that Magnus Carlsen loves to go into this King's Indian pawn structure setup. So he goes into in these setups also while playing this Lasker Sicilian that he played now very often and had a good success with this Lasker defense. And now we have this so-called block pawn structure. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but you see the pawns, I've mentioned this blocked pawn structure in many of my videos. You see these pawns are really showing you the direction of the attack, so it means that black will continue the attack on the king side and white will continue the attack on the queen side. So of course Magnus's main idea is to push the pawn on f5, crack the position, open the f-file. White's idea is of course to play c4, b4 and similar ideas and crack the position here on the square c5. So c4 was played, and now you see h6. This is also prophylactic move because when we play f5 we are not allowing white to jump maybe with the knight here on g5, and then white could really fix the knight here on a very annoying square on e6. And it would be a huge positional advantage, and of course if black castled it would be also on the fork on the queen and the rook. So that's why h6 first, and now knight on c3, simply developing move, and now castling by Carlsen. And now again here comes again I think a little bit the respect for Magnus Carlsen. Rook on b1 was played by Jonas, and he could have maybe gone immediately here b4. I think he shouldn't have supported here this potential b4 move. He could have played b4 immediately, because if you try something like f5 now, and pardon me, if you try b4 immediately, then a5, if Magnus plays now a5, we can simply go bishop on a3, and now we have a so-called, well, it's similar to the bayonet attack against the King's Indian, for the who had maybe troubles to play against this bayonet attack. You can watch one of my videos from my King's Indian series if you haven't watched it so far. So here bishop on a3 after b takes a takes b4 and bishop takes on b4. You see f5 can be played, but now a4 we want to really crack and open the position here with moves as a5 and c5, and if black tries here b6, then you have a5, and now b takes a5, rook takes a5, rook takes, and now maybe if bishop takes on a5 we could play knight on b5 and really attack this c7 pawn. So that's the main idea of this bayonet attack. Of course you have several options, but I think you see you can really go here immediately b4. You don't have to immediately support this pawn with the rook, but here Jonas played first rook on b1, and again, as I said, I think he respected Magnus Carlsen in this game a little bit too much maybe. Here f5 was played, and now b4, knight on f6, now knight on d2, and this is also a critical moment because this was sort of a slight inaccuracy by Jonas. Again, he could have gone maybe immediately a4. Again, just to push more forward, if f takes e4 is played, then knight on d2. Here Magnus would probably play the move e3, but now after f takes e3, c6 is the most important move because we want also to bring the queen on b6, creating sort of discovered attacks on the pawn here on e3. And if it takes now d takes c6, b takes c6, now you can really create a pawn breakthrough with b5. Here, after a couple of trades of the pawns, you can take also with the knight, but even you can take with the pawn and create now a really dangerous pass pawn situation here. And as said, a little bit here knight on d2, maybe a little bit too passive. Jonas should have maybe pushed this a4 pawn immediately forward. Here c6 now is played. You see you don't have any more the support of this a4 pawn, because you see you would love to have it because you can crack the position on the square b5. And Magnus, of course, the best chess player of all time, uses this moment, plays c6, bishop on b2, and now rook on c8, queen on b3. of course there are this discovered attack possibilities, but now Magnus simply took c takes d5, and now comes this moment in which Magnus takes the control in the game. So here c takes d5 was played, and it was really this inaccuracy, because here the best way is to take with the e pawn, because you're still continuing the attack here. There are possibilities, of course. It has to be prepared, but again we're playing for the simple c5 move. So first of all, Magnus has to move the king somewhere, because as said, this discovered attack by the queen is really dangerous. So king on h7 has to be played. So you see again Magnus would lose the tempo, and now you can play the move a4, and I think White is a little bit faster here on the attack, because we have really created this very annoying pawn storm of 3 pawns, and here we could really crack the position somehow. So as said, instead of that, c takes d5 was played, not e takes d5, and now we have a symmetrical pawn structure in the center, which of course Magnus Carlsen immediately uses and plays the move b5. This b5, I hope you realize the main idea by White was to create this queenside attack, and with b5 Magnus has really stopped it. Magnus has really stopped the attack, because after a4 we have simply queen on b6, a takes b5, and now a takes b5, and there isn't, White has really lost the flexibility on the queen side, and now the game was really just simply played on the king side, where Magnus Carlsen is better. So as said, from this particular moment, because Jonas didn't take with the e pawn, he took with the c pawn, Magnus took over, took control in the game, and here rook on a1 was played on this open file, which was also slightly inaccuracy, and now Magnus simply takes. F takes e4, we have knight takes on e4, knight takes on e4, and now the f file is open. This is the most important moment. Knight takes on e4, and now rook on c4. You see how Magnus comes into the game with its rooks. These rooks are really now heavy machinery here, and what to do here? The main motif here is of course something like taking the knight and maybe creating an attack on this f2. So here queen on g3 was played, and here maybe the best way is to go simply away with the king, not allowing some checks, and the continuation knight takes on d5 can be played, but now rook from a to d1, at least creating sort of some kind of a counter attack, attacking these 2 weak pawns in the center. If we manage to get rid of this d6 pawn, this could be a very good continuation for White. But okay, queen on c6 can be played, still unclear. Maybe White can go and doubling up rooks here on the d file. As said, it's I think a little bit better, but as said, Magnus took really the control in the game. Here queen on g3 was played, and now you see how dangerous these rooks are. They are really now occupying this 4th rank, the other side of the board. Rook on f4 with a double attack on the knight, so that's why queen on d3 was played. Again, a loss of tempo, and now Magnus simply sacrifices the rook. Rook takes on e4, and now queen on f2. You see it comes with a tempo. That's why this king on h1 was a really important move. King on h1, and now queen takes on b2, rook takes on f4, e takes on f4, and now Magnus has a better position. In this position, these 2 pieces for the rook are simply better. We have also 3 on 2 pawn situation, so this endgame is completely winning for black. Rook on e1 was played, knight on f5, really fixing the knight. The knight is unchallengeable here on the square. Queen takes on b5 was played, but now knight on e3, creating this octopus outpost on this very active square. Queen on e2, and now queen takes on b4. We have rook on c1, and now queen on e4 with this double attack on this pawn on d5. Also this important threat on g2. Queen on f3, now queen takes on f3, g takes f3, and now bishop on e5, rook on c8, king on f7. In this position, White resigned, because in the next move Magnus Carlsen can simply take out the pawn, and we will have then a pass pawn situation in which probably White will have to give up his rook in order to prevent Magnus Carlsen from promotion. Okay, we will memorize this young feller, Bjerre Jonas, really talented player. We saw that I think he managed to play a very active game, but in some particular moments I think he could have played even more active and really go into a tactical battle. If I would ever have the opportunity to play against Magnus Carlsen, maybe I will lose in 10 or 15 moves, but I would at least try to play the most aggressive moves. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it because it was a really cool event, and it was really cool by Magnus Carlsen for participating. And meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games with some other Grand tournaments, Vikings and similar stuff. And you can also watch my best chess games of all time, in which I show you the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.